I thought my 28th birthday would be just another celebration. But the moment I stepped through the door, something felt wrong. 55 relatives sat perfectly still, their faces empty. My dad didn't smile. He handed me a folder and said coldly, "These are the DNA results. You're not ours. We want our money back." My mom snatched my car keys. My sister laughed like I was a joke, and that's when a stranger stepped forward, clapped slowly, and whispered words that changed everything. "My name is Elena Rivera, and until last week, I believed my life was normal. That my parents loved me, that my sister Lila was just irritating but harmless, and that my world, though chaotic, was ours." I was 29, a freelance graphic designer with a modest apartment in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, and a life I thought I controlled. But nothing I knew was true. It started with a text message. "Don't make plans for Saturday. Mom and Dad have a surprise for you. You'll never forget this birthday. Lila." I stared at it on my phone, heart fluttering. A surprise. For me. That had never happened before. My past birthdays were tiny affairs, a store-bought cake, a few candles, and a muted happy birthday from Mom, while Lila received 5-tiered cakes, live musicians, and glittering jewelry. But maybe this time was different. Growing up, I was always the responsible one. I helped Lila with homework, attended every recital she ever skipped practicing for, and even lent her money when she needed it for school projects. Meanwhile, I worked part-time at a bookstore and babysat neighbors' kids to fund my own hobbies. Mom and Dad. They saw me as capable and self-sufficient. Lila, on the other hand, was their golden girl, the one who could do no wrong, the one whose mistakes were always excused. Every compliment, every gift, every spark of attention went to Lila. I had learned to smile through it, to stay quiet, to accept that love in my family came in uneven portions. But that text, it stirred something I hadn't felt in years: hope. Saturday arrived. I wore a simple navy dress, thinking less is more. Lila met me at the door of our childhood home. "Mom and Dad are in the backyard," she whispered, grinning. Her excitement felt strange, forced, even. I stepped into the garden. It was arranged beautifully: flowers, fairy lights, and a large banner reading, "Happy Birthday, Elena." At first glance, it seemed perfect. A smile tugged at my lips. But then I noticed the empty looks of the guests. They weren't cheering. They weren't clapping. A few whispered to each other. My parents stood apart, stiff and cold, a manila folder in Dad's hand. "Sit, Elena," Dad said, his voice void of warmth. Something in my stomach twisted. This wasn't a celebration. Mom took a deep breath. "Elena, we've discovered something about you." I laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" Dad opened the folder. "You are not biologically our daughter. And your inheritance, the money we entrusted you with, we want it returned immediately." The world stopped. I stared at them, at the banners, at Lila, whose grin had hardened into something malicious. My heart pounded. Every memory flashed before me. My childhood sacrifices, the late nights babysitting Lila, the times I lent her money while she laughed at my thriftiness. And now this. My entire life was being stripped away. It was then I noticed him. A man standing in the shadows near the fence, tall, broad-shouldered, gray hair flecked with silver. He didn't belong. But he was watching me. Calmly. Intently. There was something familiar in his gaze, though I couldn't place it. Who are you?" I asked. "My name is Marcus Calder," he said. His voice was steady. "I've been looking for you for a long time, Elena." Dad's hands trembled. Mom's face went pale. Lila fumbled with her phone, trying to record this new development. Marcus stepped closer. "I know everything. And I can help you." Over the next few minutes, as my parents shouted and Lila screamed about betrayal, Marcus revealed the truth. I was adopted. Not through the usual channels, not as a baby needing a family, but because someone had deliberately orchestrated it. My biological parents had been wealthy philanthropists in Europe, and my adoption was part of a cover-up tied to a scandal. Everything my adoptive parents had done, everything from financial manipulation to emotional abuse, was rooted in greed. My existence was their profit, my loyalty exploited. I could barely breathe. My life as I had known it was a lie. I left the backyard without a word. Lila called my phone endlessly, but I didn't answer. I wandered the streets of Louisville, my mind a storm. Marcus followed at a distance, silent but protective. By midnight, I was in my small apartment, staring at old photo albums, trying to reconcile the past with the present. Every picture, every memory, suddenly felt tainted. Lila's smiles, Mom's faint approval, Dad's proud glances, all suspect. Then I made a decision. I would not let them destroy me. I would fight back. But how? I had no idea. All I knew was one thing. With Marcus, I now had someone who could uncover the truth, someone who could help me reclaim my life, my name, and my dignity. The next morning, Marcus arrived at my apartment, papers and photographs in hand. "They're afraid," he said. "They always have been. But fear can be used. And now it's our turn." I looked at him, unsure. Could I trust him? Should I? My parents, after all, were masters of deception. Lila was cunning. But Marcus, there was a strength there, a strategy. Something I needed. I nodded slowly. "Then let's begin." And that's when my ordinary life truly ended. The life where birthdays meant disappointment, where family meant manipulation, where hope meant nothing. The new life, my life, was about to begin. I didn't sleep that night. My apartment, usually a place of comfort, felt like a cage. Every shadow, every ticking clock reminded me of the betrayal I had endured. Lila's laughter, Mom's feigned affection, Dad's smug glances. They were all lies. Lies I had unknowingly nurtured as love. And yet, as I lay on my couch staring at the ceiling, I realized something terrifying and thrilling. I had power now. Not the inherited wealth my parents had stolen from me, not the approval I had never received, but knowledge, truth. And with Marcus's guidance, I could turn that knowledge into my weapon. Marcus arrived at dawn. His presence was commanding, yet calm, a contrast to the chaos my parents had created. "I've gathered everything I could find," he said, spreading documents, photos, and emails across my kitchen table. Bank statements, property deeds, legal papers. Even a few secrets they've tried to hide for years. They think they're untouchable, but every empire has cracks. I studied the papers. My parents had funneled money into shell companies, used loopholes to claim I owed them for gifts they never gave, and manipulated contracts so Lila would inherit more than she deserved. Every page made my blood boil. "They took everything from me," I whispered, tears welling up. "And now, I take it back." Marcus nodded. "We start with leverage. Small, precise, painful. Then we escalate." Our first step was subtle. I started by documenting every lie, every manipulation, every emotional scar they had inflicted. I recorded conversations when they tried to contact me, saved every threatening text, and gathered proof of Lila's scheming. Then came the perfect opportunity. My parents had planned a charity gala, a prestigious event in Louisville where high-profile guests, donors, and business partners would gather. They flaunted their wealth and power, hoping to cement their social image. I arrived uninvited. Dressed elegantly, but deliberately understated, I moved through the crowd with Marcus at my side. We had prepared a small reveal, a discreet presentation of evidence that would expose them to everyone present without me needing to say a word. The first whisper spread like wildfire. "Did you see that?" someone murmured. "Elena, she's showing them something." By the end of the night, my parents were pale, frantic, and desperately trying to manage the damage. Lila's smug grin had vanished, replaced by terror. Their carefully constructed world was cracking, and I was watching it happen. But revenge is never simple. While gathering evidence, Marcus and I uncovered something worse than greed or favoritism. A letter from my biological mother, hidden in an old European archive, revealed a truth that shook me to my core. I had been adopted not by accident or kindness, but to protect a family secret. My real parents were whistleblowers, uncovering corruption in a multinational corporation. Someone wanted me hidden, safe from the reach of people who would harm my family to protect their power. It explained the urgency of my adoption, the careful orchestration of my early years, and the danger that still lingered. "This isn't just about your parents' greed," Marcus said. This is bigger. They are connected to people who might go to extreme lengths to keep secrets buried." Fear and excitement tangled within me. Danger had always been something I read about in books. Now it was real. But it also made my mission clearer. I wasn't just reclaiming my life. I was protecting it. Days later, I returned home, this time with purpose. My parents had called repeatedly, begging me to return. Lila sent messages dripping with fake affection, claiming she missed her sister. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent an invitation, a dinner, just the four of us, at our childhood home. My parents arrived first, visibly tense. Lila came last, trying to mask her fear with forced charm. As we sat, I laid everything on the table, literally and figuratively. Contracts, emails, and photos of their schemes. "You built your life on lies," I said calmly, watching their reactions. "And now it's time you face them." Mom's face twisted in fury. "How dare you?" "I dared," I interrupted. "I dared to uncover the truth, to see you for who you really are. And I will not let you manipulate me, my inheritance, or my life any longer." Lila's mouth opened, then closed. Dad's fists clenched. Silence stretched thick across the table. Even as I confronted them, I knew danger lurked outside my home. Marcus had warned me repeatedly. Some of the people connected to my parents' shady dealings were not above intimidation or violence. One evening, a black SUV parked across the street from my apartment. A man in a dark coat lingered, watching. My heart raced. I called Marcus. Within minutes, he was at my door, calm and ready. "We're getting close," he said. "They know you're not just fighting back, they know you're a threat." The adrenaline, instead of frightening me, fueled me. I realized I thrived in this chaos. Every threat, every attempt to scare me, only made me stronger. I had survived betrayal, deception, and now I was ready for war. Over the next few weeks, Marcus and I orchestrated a series of strategic moves. 1. Financial exposure. We anonymously tipped regulators about the misappropriation of funds and shell companies. A few months later, my parents were under investigation. 2. Social humiliation. At a high society event, we leaked evidence of their manipulations to journalists. The resulting headlines humiliated them publicly. 3. Legal maneuvers. Marcus, with his legal expertise, helped me reclaim assets they had claimed were owed to them, turning the tables entirely. Through it all, I watched Lila crumble. She had always relied on the safety net my parents provided. Without it, she was exposed, not just as a schemer, but as a fragile, insecure girl masquerading as someone untouchable. The story reached its climax at the annual family reunion, an event they had meticulously planned to flaunt their dominance. I arrived alone, confidently. Everyone recognized me, whispered about my sudden transformation. Mom and Dad froze when they saw me, realizing, too late, that I held all the cards. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I walked straight to them, handed over documents proving every lie, every fraudulent transaction, every act of emotional manipulation. "You wanted control," I said quietly, watching their faces. "Now, you have to live with the consequences of losing it. Lila, you wanted the crown? Here it is, heavy and tarnished." For the first time, they were powerless. Their world had crumbled, not with violence, but with truth, strategy, and resilience. Weeks later, life felt different. Not easy, not without scars, but authentic. I moved into a new apartment, my own space where no one could control me. Marcus remained by my side, not as a crutch, but as a partner in strategy, in life, and in navigating the fallout of family betrayal. I reconnected with my biological parents, discovering a past rich with love, sacrifice, and secrets meant to protect me. They had never stopped watching over me, and I had never stopped fighting for myself. Sometimes, at night, I think of Lila, my parents, the life I thought I had. And I smile, not out of cruelty, but because I survived. I reclaimed my life. I turned betrayal into empowerment. And I know, deep down, no one will ever take that from me again. Moral lessons. This story is a powerful reminder that family is not always defined by blood, and love should never be conditional. True relationships are built on trust, respect, and honesty, not manipulation, control, or greed. It teaches us the importance of recognizing toxic behavior, setting clear boundaries, and valuing our own worth above the expectations or judgments of others. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to protect and support us can betray us, while the ones we never knew or expected can become the source of genuine love and guidance. It also shows that patience, courage, and self-respect are not weaknesses. They are tools for survival and empowerment. In life, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond, and choosing integrity over fear, truth over deception, and self-love over approval is what ultimately leads to freedom, peace, and a life worth living.